Hello, my name is Chloe, welcome to my channel. Today I'm bringing to you my November wrap-up. Why did I just say November, weirdly? November. It doesn't sound like a word anymore. Anyway, November was a pretty bad month for reading for me. It was also just a very difficult life month. It was probably the most emotionally busy I have been. If we're close, you all know what I'm talking about. If you feel like we are close and you don't know what I'm talking about, then feel free to message me. But there's just been a lot going on in my life in November. Saying that, I did still manage to read 7 books, but unfortunately my average rating for them was a 2.3 star. So I did not read any new favourites in November. I have my notes, so I'm just going to run through the ratings. I read 1 1-star book, 3 2-star books, 1 2.5-star book, 1 3-star book, and 1 3.5-star book. So nothing really that great. I mean, a 3-star for me is a decent read, but there were only 2 above that out of 7. So yeah, not the best month. I will just get started because I don't want this to drag on too long. The book I gave 1 star, I'm very sorry, Lauren, is We Set the Dark on Fire by Taylor K. Major? It's gonna be there. I'm sorry, I'm very bad at pronunciations. This was a book about, so there's a school where women are trained to either be a primera or a segunda. Why can't I speak today? Every time I try and say something that needs a different accent, I can't do it. Again, as I said in my last video, the main road is right there and everybody can see me filming if they walk past, so I'm getting a bit, keep checking. Anyway, this book I was very, very excited to read it. So one of my favourite books in October was Girls with Sharp Sticks, which is about a girls' school where they are trained to be the perfect wives. So this is sort of where I was thinking this book would go. So in this book, each man will choose a primera and a segunda. My voice sounds weird. I took 6 months of Spanish. Why can't I say these words? Anyway, and they will both have different duties. Like, one of them is the wife professionally, so she will go to all the events, she will be there politically supporting sort of thing, and the other one will be the homemaker, the childbearer, the providing of other things, you know what I mean. And I just didn't like it, so I listened to the audiobook and it was a chore every time I wanted to listen to it. So I tried at work and I would just drift off into not even thinking about it and have to go back and re-listen to chapters because I just really wasn't interested. And then there was a bit of a big reveal in this and it was not shocking. It made perfect sense. Yeah, wasn't a massive fan. I know that Lauren really, really likes this book. So yeah, sorry, not my cup of tea. I then gave 3 books 2 stars, the first one being Pretty Little Liars by Sarah Shepherd. So this is the book I was most upset by. Pretty Little Liars is one of my favourite TV shows ever. I absolutely love it. But the book was just such a letdown. I feel like if I read this when I was about 13, it would have been my favourite thing in the world. But I've read a lot of books since then. And yeah, was not impressed. So if you've been living under a rock and you've never seen Pretty Little Liars, this is about a group of 5 girls. There is Hannah, Aria, Spencer, Emily, and Alison. And Alison goes missing and she's not found, and a couple years later, I don't know how much to say that's a spoiler. I have no idea. There's a group of 5 girls, one of them goes missing, they all move on with their lives. It's pretty much the story. This book probably did the first 2 episodes of the TV series, so I knew what was coming. And I know it's not fair because I've watched one before reading it, but it was just seemed like nothing. Oh, okay. I really need to stop making awkward eye contact with people as they walk past. But yeah, I just feel like nothing really insane happened. The writing wasn't fantastic. I think if I see the second book somewhere, I don't know, if I find it for like 25p in a charity shop, I'll give it a go, but wasn't a big fan. The next book I gave 2 stars was People Like Us by Dana Melee. I am now going to have to pause this video because I have no idea what this was about. Okay, so pretending that didn't happen, this is about a girl called Kay. I definitely didn't have to check that again. Who goes to like a prestigious boarding school, and she's one of the popular girls, and then they find a body in the lake, and then there's a computer scavenger hunt to work out what happened. Really, I don't know what happened. I don't know whether this would have been better me reading the physical book. I don't know whether the audiobook threw me. I'm finding that a lot with anything with a mystery where I listen to the audiobook, I do get a little bit lost. But is that just because I can't handle mysteries or I can't handle audiobook mysteries? I really don't know. I'm moving my arms a lot today. I'm very restless. Anyway, didn't like it. I'm sorry. I won't say more about it. And the final 2-star book was Chasing Beverly by Ashlyn Cubbison. So this I got as an ARC from NetGalley. It took me a very long time to read this, and I thought this was going to be a smutty romance. It was not. It was a romance, but it was every romance story. Like, there were similarities picked from everything, and then there was no smut at all. Like, it was a fade to black style story. And I know that a lot of people don't want to read that sort of thing, but I was getting myself in for an adult romance and there was nothing. So I felt a little bit let down. I was really hoping to give this at least 3 stars just for the sake of the story, but I can't do fade to black romances. I need a bit more out of them. The 2.5-star book I read, which I might do another video on because this was our Reading Between the Spines book club pick, and that is Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. So I will link our Goodreads group for the book club down below. There's a couple of us taking part, and this was our first month's pick. I did tab it up a little bit. I wrote comments throughout, mainly just so I could have something to talk about when we have our discussion, because this book was not fantastic. I really, really enjoyed Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng, which I think I've actually thrown out. Yeah, I unhauled that, so I actually don't have it anymore. But that was a much shorter book, and I feel like I would have enjoyed this more if it was a similar sort of length. There were definitely parts of it, particularly the bits I've tabbed up in pink. So, well, there's 2 tabs. So any romance, emotional sections, loved it. But then there were some chapters there just seemed like absolutely no point to. It didn't link to the story in any way. And it's a 400-page book, and I think it could have been 300 pages easily, maybe 250 pages easily. I really, really struggled to get through it. But we will be having a more in-depth discussion on this book pretty soon, so I'll make sure I'll link all of the information in the description for you. The 3-star book I read was Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. I think that's their name. This is a romance about the Prince of England and the President's son. I had mixed feelings on this book. I enjoyed the idea of their long distance relationship. Never guess why. But yeah, it was cute in parts. It was emotional in parts, especially when they couldn't be together and they wanted to be together. But then there was a lot that really just... Okay, so I did just try and explain what I didn't like about the ending, and then I ended up basically giving a spoiler. But all I will try and put across is that, yes, it was a long distance relationship. Yes, one of them can move to a different country. But it's the Prince of England and the President's son. So surely they have responsibilities that they can't quite get over and probably shouldn't keep flying in between places. It just bothered me. But I gave it 3 stars. The actual romance was cute. I definitely felt bad listening to the audiobook at work, and several times I took my headphones out to make sure people couldn't hear it. Because, you know, a bit fruity, as my parents would say. It was cute. If there was a sequel, would I read it? No. And finally, the highest rated book of the month, which was still only a 3.5 stars, was I Was Born for This by Alice Oseman. So I read this in the weekend contemporary-a-thon. This was about a girl who is a major fangirl of a band called The Ark, and she basically ends up with an opportunity to meet them. And it's all about, there's a lot about like fandoms and why they're not that bad and people have bad images of them and stuff like that. And I've never been a major part of a fandom. Like, I was... The postman just looked at me. Is he going to give me anything? Have I got a letter? I don't think I do. Okay, no letters from the postman. So I completely missed the One Direction craze, which was probably the biggest fandom when I was in school, and I feel like it was a little bit on that, really. And I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the idea, but I was a little bit like, this is too unbelievable sort of thing. I would definitely recommend it if you like an easygoing contemporary, just to take your mind off life. But it wasn't anything profound. So that is it for my November wrap up. Only 7 books, but as I said, I had a very difficult month, and I would like to say that I appreciate support from everybody. You know who you are. If you've been lovely to me this month, then please give yourself a pat on the back, because I needed it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching it, and I will see you in the next one.